So, in this era where everybody has a platform, everybody has an opinion, even reputable people sometimes will have a bad take, particularly when you're giving an observation about a certain podcaster that you know knows better and you kind of rationalize them. I'm going to show a couple of clips from Jon Stewart, who was doing a speaking engagement with the New Yorker, and I understand what he was getting at. And this isn't a fuck you to Jon Stewart, but this is a bad take.
It's being on Joe
I
Rogan.
enjoyed being on Rogan. I think he's an interesting interviewer. There are right-wing weaponized commentators whose sole purpose is to manipulate things to the benefit of the Bannon Project or the Project 2025. Rogan's not that guy.
What is that guy? How would you describe
That guy
him?
is a curious comic who fell into this thing that got fucking enormous, maybe doesn't has opinions all over the political spectrum, but has tendencies that people on the left does not fit the aesthetic. He's a hunter.
In fairness, he's had people on who are kind of Nazi curious. That's not good.
I've interviewed Kissinger. And he was carpet bomb curious.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. It's very easy to castigate those where we're like, but he had an opinion a few years back that's,
Now, once upon a time, Rogan was that. Up until a year or two ago, he was at least consistent. He would have different people with different walks of life, with different views, and he would challenge them. And once upon a time, the show was actually entertaining until he moved to Austin. And now his show is basically just shitting on liberals and sucking up to Donnie and Musk. And even when he gives some type of soft criticism of what's been going on, he never says Donnie's name specifically. And with Musk, he never challenges him on anything. And he just sits there all googly-eyed because he worships at the altar of Musk. So my first thought is, he has not watched Rogan in a while. He thinks that 2018, 2019 Rogan is still there, and it's the furthest thing from. I could do a whole deep dive of how Joe Rogan is problematic, but let's keep going.
The difference is when he was carpet bomb curious, you didn't say, oh, yeah, that's awesome. And what happens with Rogan sometimes is he'll hear somebody that's on the dangerous end of the spectrum, and he'll just kind of soak it in.
I think this is a great point. And it's whoever job who thinks that information is dangerous to fight to get their point of view out there to counter what they think is misinformation. You can't just deputize people to say he should have known better and he should have prosecuted that point.
But the reality is, John, is that it might be my job or the New York Times job or even your job, but I don't have the audience that Joe Rogan does.
Then get it.
Yeah,
then find
get
people
it.
Who do, then go on that show. Then do those things. It's not acceptable to just say, well, I don't like what he does. Then do it better, beat them at their own game. It's not enough to just complain that guy got a platform and don't platform that guy. There's no one in this world right now that isn't platformed. And my biggest frustration, honestly, with a lot of scientists is they all go, RFK, oh, he's so fucked up. That's terrible information. Oh, okay. What's the information? Nothing. Where are they? Get out there. Fight.
Because it's just that easy. Just get that audience. Anybody that is left of center is trying that. But unfortunately, in this day and age of misinformation, truthful information does not sell. That is the underlying problem, especially during Donnie's first term. When Kellyanne Conway gave the infamous alternative facts, that springboarded an entire generation. The truth is not the truth. If you didn't fundamentally understand certain things, there had to be a conspiracy, or they're trying to hide the truth from us. We have all the information at our fingertips, and we refuse to use it properly. When you have people on that you think have a different perspective but are schmatzy adjacent or schmatzy curious, how am I supposed to take you seriously? That should not be platformed. It shouldn't be tolerated. Actually, everything that Schmittler did wasn't that bad. Get the fuck out. It was just like that fucking imbecile during the Jubilee debate. And then he mentions RFK. John, RFK is not an expert when it comes to medicine. This is the same individual that said, I don't think everybody should listen to me. We have to. You are in charge of HHS. That is like literally your job. This is the same individual that swam in a river of shit and said that we shouldn't listen to the experts. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. It is an empty sentiment to say that, well, you just need to get out there and you need to fight. Doctors are, and they're getting villainized. Because what happened in 2020, nobody wants to trust them anymore. They went through hell and back just for the public to say, fuck you, we're not listening to you anymore. They are fighting. They are debunking RFK's bullshit. But people need to be willing to listen. So like I said, this isn't a middle finger to Jon Stewart, but this was so disappointing. Words need to matter. Facts need to matter. This isn't a matter of, I think this movie is better than that movie. That's something that you can have a conversation about. But if I go outside right now and it is bright and sunny, and you're telling me to my face that it's raining, I'm going to need you to explain yourself because you're wrong. But in a broader sense, I do think people need to go to places that they're not comfortable with, be introduced to that audience. Same thing with hosting a show. You need to bring people on that you need to challenge, but you actually have to challenge that person, which is one of my ultimate critiques of Rogan when he had on Donnie on his show. He sat there and let him lie for a couple of hours. He just sat there. So yes, John, he does know better. Experts are trying to debunk RFK. But if you are somebody that does not clap back to nonsense, like you used to do with Bill O'Reilly and did it masterfully, but the bad take that the other side has, it just simmers and it gets into the zeitgeist. Then when eventually it gets to Fox News and they just pound that statement into the ground, then people start to listen, even though it is fundamentally wrong. So again, I do like John. I still respect John. But I'm disappointed in you, sir.